You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Welcome all and welcome in. We are back. It's the Insight NFL Podcast, SuperCoach edition for everyone here tonight. And personally, one of my favorite shows of the week that we get into, a massive trade show as we look forward to week 6 this week. Week 5 is behind us. We had a couple of duds and a couple of studs that we'll be going through in our trade outs and trade ins. But Secko, mate, all smiles all around. We're looking forward to week 6. How are you feeling as we're getting stuck into this one tonight?
Yeah, pup, mate. Good to be back here on a Wednesday talking trade ins and trade outs. It's good. It's funny. The game finishes on the sort of Tuesday afternoon. The Monday night game finishes, and then sort of first thought is who's in. I know the WhatsApp goes nuts with talking about the trades that are going to happen. So we get pretty much a 30-hour lead into this episode, and it sort of allows me to clear my head and I go back and think and sort of put some time into who might be some value to pick up, not just the run of the mill. There's very much a consensus 2 or 3 pickups this week, and we're going to look a little bit broader than that. Hopefully, make the difference.
Yeah, this one's always good for me. I'm very much the same. I like to skim through and kind of put some pieces that I might like to trade in from my own squad, and then after this, that's definitely when I've got all the information that I need and start locking in some guys for the week ahead. But yeah, great show that we've got here tonight with our trade ins and trade outs. A little bit of housekeeping as per usual. If you did miss our week 5 review that Secko and Horse covered on Monday night, the link is in below. And we will, following this, we'll have our captain's huddle for SuperCoach dropping nice and early in the morning. I'm not even going to try and say a time because all the daylight savings is just, I'm a little bit stuck with all that, Queensland to the southern states there. So that's dropping in the morning, and then our week 6 preview and starts of the week will go live in our traditional fantasy perspective. That'll be tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. AEDT as per usual. But really getting in here tonight, we usually have some injuries to cover and everything like that, but we're still waiting for the Wednesday practice over in the States. So we'll cover a whole heap of injuries in tomorrow night's live stream show. But there is a little bit of news, and I will drop the news transition because this guy, hopefully he can feed all the pieces on this team since coming in, but we'll get stuck into that right after this.
It's time for some news from around the league.
Joe Flacco, old Joe, Slingin' Joe, has been traded to the Bengals from the Cleveland Browns. The Browns receive a 2026 5th-round pick for Flacco and a 6th. So a little pick swap, and they get a nice 40-year-old gunslinger there added in. I know Jake Browning, the current quarterback or previous quarterback for the Bengals, so many turnovers, so many interceptions over the last few weeks. Definitely not sustainable, and their head coach has had enough and has brought in Flacco, who, even himself, he likes to throw a couple of picks, but nowhere near as many as Browning was doing. How are you feeling about this one, Secko? Are you feeling pretty optimistic? Because I know we had a bounce back last week with Jamar Chase scoring a whopping 52 points in SuperCoach. Do you think that Flacco can keep that ball rolling for him and the likes of the other guys on that team?
Yeah, I do. I think it's good. I mean, it's important to note and remember that score last week came pretty much after Detroit with 3 or 4 scores up and essentially gave up on the game. So Jamar got a completely busted 60-plus yard touchdown play, which in SuperCoach accounts for 24 points, which is almost half what he had. So if you take with that what you will, Browning wasn't the answer. I don't know if Joe Flacco is the answer, to be honest, but I think he's better. We're not going to be starting Joe Flacco. We're never going to be starting Jake Browning in any sort of real fantasy formats, especially not SuperCoach. So we care more about the impact on Jamar Chase primarily, and then Chase Brown, who should be gone by now of every team, but he might actually finally be relevant. Who knows? One thing we do know is that Quinshon Judkins was very relevant in Joe Flacco's era in Cleveland. So yeah, I mean, TBD. I wouldn't be rushing him back into our teams yet, but yeah, it's more about what happens to him and T Higgins. Which I don't think is going to be a bad thing. It can't get any worse for those guys. So if you still have any sort of interest in those guys in your regular fantasy, hopefully not SuperCoach, but I think it's a positive if albeit very small.
Yeah, we definitely need a little bit more love for T. Higgins. He's been just really a nobody the last few weeks since Joe Burrow's gone down. And with Flacco joining in there, do you think he gets the start straight out of the week? Secko, they do have the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau to start this one. Do you think they just throw him in there and hope for the best, or how does that kind of shape out, do you think?
Yeah, I think they will, only because they made the move. They're 2-3. They made the move. They actually cut both their backup quarterbacks as well, which is pretty crazy, really. They're third and fourth backup. They only got Jake Browning behind him now, so they'll do a practice. What do you call them? Practice team guys. But yeah, I think I think there's nothing to lose now. I think they've got to just make the switch now. They've made the call. Browning against the Packers, we also know what's going to happen there. Whereas Flacco could give him a burst, could give him, a bit of a different look, and the Packers only get sort of 3 or 4 days to prep for Flacco when they were prepping for how to pick off Browning 100 times. So it's a bit of a change for them. It may actually be a positive move to give them a different look from a defensive scouting point of view.
Yeah, it definitely can't hurt. And Flacco is 1-0 against the Packers this year, beating them when he was on Cleveland earlier in the year. Yeah, we hope, and I know this is a SuperCoach show tonight, but if Flacco is out there in waivers, particularly in Superflex leagues, I think, he's definitely going to be a better option than a couple of other guys that are out there, because the weapons that Cincinnati has is just set up to succeed. Besides that offensive line, they've got a whole lot of pieces around. So, yeah, we'll wait and see how that looks out as we progress. But that's really the only news that we have tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we will have a whole heap of injuries on tomorrow night's Week 6 preview show. So without further ado, let's get into our trade outs, starting off at the quarterback position. And let's jump into our transition here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
Here we are, starting out with our trade outs. And with this segment here, we'll be going through our top candidates in each position. Starting off with quarterback, and I'll jump in here, Secko, and I'll take one here right at the gate. Justin Herbert, 19.2 million, and he's got a break even of 46. Herbert has ever since he's lost Rashawn Slater, or that was the start of the year. Joe Alt going down as well. They're two top tackles, and I believe they've also missed a third piece from that starting O-line. So that unit is completely decimated. The amount of pressure that Herbert is getting is just giving him absolutely no time to do what he was doing in the first couple of weeks of the year. And he's looked pretty ordinary since then as well. And now Omarion Hampton is on IR, which we covered earlier this week following week 5 of games, which is, again, it's going to hurt that offense as a whole. And I think, they're going to be able to get to Herbert very quickly with that one. So, Herbert there, if you do have him, 46, still 19.22 million. We will have a couple of options here to trade in once we get later on. But yeah, he's a clear trade out for me if I've got him. There's better options out there. But then again, you might even be worth waiting until Josh Allen and Lamar finish off their bye, and look at week 6. But if you do have those luxury trades there, might be a good option. But yeah, Secko, how do you feel about Herbert as we also lead into your top quarterback trade out target?
Yeah, he's just been trending down, and you'd think that the loss of Hampton maybe puts the ball more in Herbert's hands and they sort of back him in, but it just doesn't look like it's trending that way. And I think Harbaugh and Roman have sort of got together and sort of thought, let's just manage the game more and try and win games on the way that they know how, which sort of sucks a bit. But yeah, he's down to 19 mil now. He lost just over $1 million last week and 46 break even. It's just sort of hard to trust him to score much more than that sort of high 30s. If you've got him, it might be worth. Your point was great. It's probably a bad week to trade out, given that in 2 weeks' time, if you haven't got Lamar or Josh Allen, they'll be coming back off bye, so they're sort of guilt-free pickups there. And who are you really? We'll get into the trade-ins later, but the price point is not the easiest to get to a league keeper quarterback option. My number one trade out this week is Cam Ward. He was a player a lot started with. If they didn't start with JJ, they went with Ward. Some people went with both. I did. He's been the slowest of horrible watch burns of all time. It's been really bad. He's eked his way up to 7.7, so he's made about 3.5 mil, which is just pathetic in 5 weeks. Break even's now 14. We've got options coming in. We'll talk about later as trade-ins in the rookie price quarterback area. I think it's just time to cut bait if you've got him. JJ McCulley's a bit of a different story potentially because his break even so generous. But yeah, I think Ward is not number one. It's time to just get out of here and cut your losses and make sort of 4.5 million on a transaction.
Yeah, and last week against Arizona, like he did score 18, which again, nothing to be proud of, but a lot of that game
Sounds good for him.
Yeah, but a lot of that game and those points that did come thanks to the Cardinals just absolutely blowing up at the end of that game. Cam Ward had absolutely no right coming back into that one, and his score, was definitely boosted up by how poorly the Cardinals went here. The other main name that we have on this list here, Jared Goff. So he is at 21.4 million, 50 break even. He's got Kansas City in week 6 and then off to a bye on week 7. Mainly for you, Secko, with Jared Goff, is this more so just preparing for that bye and moving off Goff now, especially considering the tough matchup that they'll have facing Kansas City at Arrowhead in week 6?
Yeah, I mean, he's only in 1.5% of teams. Not many have this issue, but it's now's the time, and I've sort of said it a bit. I said it a bit last week. I'll say it again so this week a bit more, but it's preparing for the buys a bit more. I think a lot of people have sort of flown by the seat of their pants a little bit, which is cool. But you get to a point where you look at week 8, and that week you might have to make 4 or 5 trades just to make a team, like a proper normal team of 16. So you just want to be prepared. You've got him. Maybe now's the time to get rid of him. He's break even 50. He's playing at Kansas City. Unlikely to score that at Arrowhead, and then the bye. So I might have the bye the week. Oh, it might be a week later, but it's Tampa Bay the week after, which will probably be okay. But it might be too damage might have been done by then. You're losing more money. So again, he's probably like Herbert. You can hold him if you've got him. Be prepared to sort of take a potentially a $1 million sort of haircut on that price, and then hope to get it back in against Tampa Bay, and then go Allen or Lamar. But yeah, it's an option if you're looking for someone to get out to make money down to a trade-in or go up to a keeper, a la the guy he's playing on the weekend.
Yeah, and it's not as if Goff is going to be a season-long keeper for us. He's definitely not in the end game plan that we have here. And the thing with Detroit, that running back tandem in Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, a lot of the times they're just going to take away a heap of points from Jared Goff. So we'll probably be pulling out our hairs in half of the game if we did have Jared Goff in there. So yeah, a good move, similar to Herbert, like you mentioned, Secko, because that week 8 bye that's coming up, man, there's going to be decimated. We're lucky this week. We've only got the Houston Texans and Minnesota Vikings that we need coverage for. And also next week, there's only a couple more teams. But yeah, week 8, geez, what's that, 6 teams and followed by 4 teams in week 9. So it definitely gets more big as we get on out. So if we can be more proactive and get on the front foot with this stuff, you'll definitely be thanking yourself and saving some trades down the line. Secko, was there any other quarterbacks for you? I know for me, I know we've mentioned in previous shows, Michael Penix Jr., he's at 6.9% owned. Very nice there. Just under 2,200 people out there in SuperCoach. 10.7 mil. Penix just offers you absolutely nothing in terms of rushing production, and he's looked pretty average as well to start off the year. So again, if you've got Michael Penix Jr., here's an easy move out for me. Is there any other guys that you're looking to clear out, or should we roll this thing into running backs?
No, I think we can roll his running backs. Penix is the one. He's a good shout. I think he's a fair way down in the higher performers list. So that percentage of ownership is more guys that sort of set a team and then forgot, I would hope. More of the active players in the top sort of 1% and 5%. Of the top 5% ownership, I think was 2 point something, 1.6. Only 26 people in the top 5% have him. So yeah, they've listened to us. Listened to us for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the bye week was probably the thing that tipped him over if they did still have him. And other than that, yeah, we've touched on everyone sort of, in the major trade outs. So good to move on to RBs.
Running backs and starting off, I have to take the lowest of low-hanging fruits away from the table to kick things off. Marion Hampton, he has been placed on IR running back for the LA Chargers, rookie this year. He was really starting to come together, especially with the opportunity that was presented to him with the Najee Harris Achilles injury that's ruled him out for the year. But Amarian Hampton on IR, 12.36 million. So he's made a whole heap of cash for you here. Now that he is on IR, it is time to move to a keeper if possible. And hopefully you've got a bit of cash in the bank that you can kind of make that move. And we'll have a couple of options later on there as well, along with a couple of cash generating options if you want to take that path as well. But yeah, Hampton, you hate to see it. I know for me personally, I'm probably just going to hold a trade this week and keep him on my bench because I've got enough running backs to kind of fill that position. But he's definitely on the next week. I think he's definitely gone out of my squad there. But yeah, Hampton, sad to hear. But who do you have here for a Secko and as a running back trade out?
The same thing with me with Hampton. I'm just going to hold him a week because I've got other trades that I want to do to field the strongest team. And again, it's all about making the most points every week. And if I traded him out, I would have probably Genty on the bench, which doesn't really seem like a viable option when I'd be fielding a rookie, a poor rookie in wide receiver. Anyway, my next guy on the list is I'm going to go with the easy one, Derrick Henry. He's down to $15.15 million. So if you started him and you still somehow got him, you probably missed the boat. He's lost $7.5 million already. It's a big, it's a big loss. He is not the same guy, especially without Lamar. There's word that Snoop Huntley's going to start this week, which I think makes it even worse for Derek. I'm not sure how that's possible, but his snap percentage is like ridiculously low as well. It's not even like he's just not doing much. He's not getting opportunity to do a lot, and he's not doing much. So he has to go. If you've got him in this format, you just got to cut losses. He had 45, 39, and only 65%, up to 65% snap time last week, which is better, but still it's not what we need from him. And he hasn't scored more than 10 points, 10 half PPR points since week 1. So in this format, he hasn't scored over 20 in 4 weeks. It sucks. The price point's so low that it's really, you got to pay up to actually get someone up from him, which sucks. But and there's no real massive cheap downgrades unless you go for a Bill Crosby or someone which we'll talk about later. But Henry has to make way. Yeah,
he does. And the sad thing with Derrick Henry, he's very game script dependent. When the Ravens are down in games, he doesn't see the field. Justice Hill has been getting a lot more snaps. And with how decimated their defense has been, and especially without Lamar, they just can't contend. I mean, the Houston Texans absolutely blew them out of the park last week. And I think it's definitely going to continue as they come up against the Rams in week 6. Definitely can't see that going in a positive game script for Derrick Henry. Secko, before we move on to the next guy, is Derrick Henry, like you're trading off him now? Do you think he might be viable trade-in back option when Lamar comes back in after the bye, or you're going to have to see it to believe it for a couple of weeks?
I'm probably in the minority, but I'll have to see it to believe it. I was very anti Derrick Henry at the start of the year. I went with the age cliff narrative. The rebuttal to that was he's superhuman, which he is. He's beaten that before, but my theory was that everyone, even Adrian Peterson, everyone either retires in their 20s or hits the age cliff. Like it's literally everyone. So I just had a feeling that things might go a little bit awry. I didn't see them being 1-4 or whatever they are. I didn't see Lamar going out, but so I think I'd have to see it. I wouldn't consider him close to a top 8 running back, and therefore I don't think he's a viable option for me in SuperCoach because I definitely want of my 4 running backs. I want 4 of the top. What I see as the top 6. Ideally, I want 5 of the top 6. So I don't see Henry in that mix when we've got guys like CMC, Bijan, Jimmy Gibbs, forgetting someone, James Cook, who I'm about to talk to about in a second. Josh Jacobs is there. There's plenty of options that I think are a lot better than him. So wait and see. He might come good. He'll be very cheap. So that might be an option. Might be a sort of break glass in case of, I'm forgetting JT. That's why I'm forgetting the best of them all. Yeah, like it may be a case where you go, well, I can't afford to get Jimmy Gibbs at 21 million for my last upgrade. I'll take Derrick Henry at 14. Like, that's fine. I'm planning ahead to not need to have Derrick Henry is pretty much my summary.
Yeah, I love it. And the next guy here, you did tease him, James Cook for the Buffalo Bills. You know, similar kind of conversation, but not on the production side of the ball. He did have a damn week last week against the Patriots, but the Pats have been pretty good against the run so far this season. But Cook, he's got a break even of 58. He's 19.8 million, and he's got the bye next week as well. Yeah, so I think there's one here, Secko. It's a nice little savvy move if you can get ahead of the buys and switching these guys out. Save a trade now, and he probably will lose a bit of cash. I can't see him putting up 58 against the Falcons in that one, and we might see a little bit more of a pass heavier game with that one here. But yeah, anything else here from Cook on why you're looking to move him out here before we head to wide receivers?
No, this is in no way attributed to his output or ability or anything. This is purely a decision based on he's got to buy next week. You can utilize that cash before he loses more to maximize points on field. I don't necessarily see him as a must own. Others will see him as a must own, but again, you can't take the points he's already scored with you. So keep that in mind. If he does regress, which all the talk in the preseason was touchdown regression was coming, that may not happen. But if it does, he's not going to be scoring the way that he was in the first 4 weeks. So it's more just that play, looking ahead to the buys. If you can carry him and you're happy to keep him all year, keep him. There's no issue.
Yeah, and the cost is good too. You know, just under 20 mil, you can easily switch to another primo that we'll have later on. Wide receivers. Oh man, this guy's name. He was the first guy that came out of Mav's mouth when he was talking about a rage trade. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver AJ Brown, just 12.7 mil, 53 break even. What a terrible season it's been for AJ Brown. The Eagles offense has just been looking weird. Barkley's barely getting any opportunities compared to what he had last year. They're really not throwing the ball as much. Jalen Hurts has been missing him in a lot of big spots. Even AJ Brown last week against the Broncos, he kind of held up on a route. He just kind of stopped running and he probably could have gotten to it. And I think he was questioned about it after the game, and he's like, "Oh, that was just a miss in my eyes." So there's been a heap of talk about him potentially being a trade candidate. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Just doesn't make too much sense for me. If I'm the Eagles, I'd be wanting to keep my wide receiver one. But yeah, it's just weird, this team and that whole offense. They're led by Jalen Hurts, but break even at 53. He's going to lose more cash. Definitely can't see him scoring that this week against the Giants in prime time. Could very well be a big Barkley game, against the Giants here. But any other thoughts on AJ Brown here, Secko, before we move on to your next trade out?
No, we've said it for 4 weeks now. It's just a different environment than it's been. He's had one good game, but you don't want to just wait for that one good game to happen. It's the vibes out of that team is gross, and he's already lost 4 mil. He's going to lose another probably 2. You're going to get rid of him soon. So yeah, just cut your losses. Look elsewhere. There's other guys you can get for not much money, but you've pretty much hampered yourself a little bit by not getting rid of him earlier. Next guy I want to talk about was a guy who was a real hot waiver wire or cheaper trading candidate a couple of weeks ago after he had the biggest, I think it's still the biggest wide receiver SuperCoach score of the year. It's Trey Tucker with his 3 touchdown game that he had. He had 73 points. He's up to $13.5 million, which is amazing money for him. He made $6 million off one performance. If you look outside that, he had 24, 6, 73, 5, and 17. He literally had one performance and made $6 million off it. You've done well there. Cash in. Unfortunately, you bought him after he went up the $3 million after that performance, but still made almost $3 million. His break even is 52, so he's obviously not a keeper. He's going down in price. Just get rid of Toto. He's still owned by 6% of the population. 1,759 total coaches have him. Time to cut ties with him. His price being more than AJ Brown is fascinating and just shows you can make things happen from Trey Tucker as well. With going down to a quarterback or a cheap tight end, which we'll talk about later. That's the work. Trade Tucker out for someone who's a keeper.
Yeah, and the Raiders, that offense as well, has been looking pretty gross behind Gino. He's been turning the ball over a whole heap. And Brock Bowers as well for that team. It's hasn't really opened up things as much as we would have liked to have seen to start the year. Another little low-hanging piece here, Travis Hunter, if you do still have him on rosters, might be a little bit harder just given his low price, 4.9 mil, under 5. His break even is 1. Again, he probably will make a little bit of money, but like it's just you're not going to have him long term. His role isn't solid, and that Jags, he's playing a whole heap of defense. I know he had a nice, I think it was a 44-yard catch against the Chiefs that really got things moving for them to win the game. But yeah, he's just not really a piece that you need, and he's just kind of restricting there. But if you do have other trades that you need to make, you can kind of hold this one off. But if you do have a trade there and you've got your wide receivers set for the next week or so, Travis Hunter is a nice, easy one that you can make that switch to another cheaper option. And we'll have some cheaper options as well later on. Last guy here that we have, Secko here, for our wide receiver trade outs.
Yeah, I'd say Flowers. He's another guy. He's not a must trade by any means, but he's sort of done his job. We've seen he's a bit like Henry and the others. There's another one we'll get to in the next position. They're just all being brought down by the fact that Lamar's not there. It's not forever, but it's still for another at least 2 weeks. I would dare say that he's back in week 8, Lamar, but it's a long hold. There's buys coming up with them. They're on the smaller buy, the week 7 buy, but still, you're just hanging on to a guy who is not going to be in your plans long term. So by no means a must trade, but say Flowers can make way while he's still at that sort of over $10 million currency.
Yeah, and I think if they roll out with Snoop Huntley this week over Cooper Rush, I'd be very surprised if he hits that break even of 18, even as low as it is. But we saw what Snoop did for the Dolphins last year when he filled in for Tua. Very, very gross. And not a whole lot of passing volume to go around there. Tight end trade outs here that we've got. And again, I will take our thumbnail model for tonight and the easiest one here on this list. Brock Bowers, 11.8 million, 33 break even, but there's a very good chance that he will be out through the week 8 bye that they have coming up. It has been confirmed, and we covered in last night's waivers show, that he's dealing with a PCL and also a bone bruise in one of his knees. And by all reports, for the doctors have said to him, he just needs to rest to heal through this, and so simply just not play. So yeah, very good chance he misses the next couple of weeks. And at that price, you will be able to pivot and pick up a nice option there, because yeah, he's already lost you a couple of mil. I know I started off with Brock Bowers, and it sucks. Super high hopes for him coming into 2025. But again, the injury has just riddled him a little bit too much than we'd hoped. And it's time to move on. I know for me, that was my one trade that I've made this week. That was nice and easy switch again. So yeah, nice primo option looking to trade out for. You've got another one here for us as well, Secko. Who have you got?
Yeah, he's running, mate. He's TE2 to his TE1. Trey McBride. I think it's just time. It's like Bowers without the injury. It's he's just people think I'm crazy. And look, there's some the guys in the chat they're touching on this a bit. We'll hit this later. Thanks for your questions. Keep them coming. We'll address them at the end. But it's very much dividing the SuperCoach NFL community on him just being a hold all year or a trade out. And I just think you can trade him out. He's at 38 break even. He's going to lose more money. He's got a buy coming up. I think he's a week 8 buy as well, as they all are. And it's just one of those things. If you can maximize the money from him, yes, it's an extra trade if you have to get him back in week 9 or 10 or whenever he's bottom right out, when things have gotten better. But to be honest, it's Kyler Murray, and the vibes in that place are as bad as the Philly vibes in their offense. They're just not seeming great. So he's not the same guy. He was getting by last year massively on his ability to have 8 to 10 catches a week, and that's just not happening with the way that offense is designed. So save all of the coaches being fired, which I think is pretty close. I would just trade him to Darren Waller, with spoiler alert for later. Pocket the money, pocket the nearly 10 million and invest it elsewhere. And then I've done the sums quickly, and if Waller scores about as good as he, below what he's done already, but still decent. You'll be able to get McBride back for less than $1 million. I think around 10. So that's a viable play. I think Waller's going to score just as many points as McBride, if not more, and you're making a potential $15, $18 million swing. So for me, it's a no-brainer, but I'm obviously thinking it from a different lens. A lot of people think I'm crazy for even suggesting it.
Yeah, well, you nailed the nail on the head there, Secko. That whole, I know we were talking about this just before we went live. That Arizona Cardinals offense, just I don't know. I still can't believe they lost that game against the Titans. They just kind of shut up shop. Kyler's also dealing with a foot injury as well. That kind of got him out of that game a little bit as well. So yeah, McBride, get all that cash, and yeah, Darren Waller, absolutely love that play later on. Another tight end that we have here, if you haven't traded him out already, TJ Hawkinson, 5.6% owned, just under 8 mil at 7.9. He's on bye this week. So he's a nice, free, easy trade out as well. Break even of 19, but they've got Jordan Addison back, and JJ McCarthy is probably slated to come back in as well in week 7 after that bye. So we'll have to wait and see how that looks for the Minnesota Vikings. But yeah, you don't really want anybody else in this team besides Justin Jefferson at this point in the receiving options there. So yeah, Hawkinson, he just looks like he's kind of missed a step. Maybe he's taking a little bit longer to come off that knee injury from the past year there. So yeah, he's an easy trade out, especially with him on bye here for us. But who else have you got here for Secko in tight end trade outs?
Yeah, the last two. The first one is Mark Andrews. He's sort of the same. It's been one in every category. Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and now Mark Andrews. It's just the symptoms of being part of the Baltimore offense. Isaiah Likely he came back last week. He was sort of running very, very casual routes. He wasn't doing anything too extenuous. That's going to ramp up. I think we know it is. His break even's 46. He's at $12 million as well. So the fact that you can still get currency from him, and get $8.5 million from Waller from him is phenomenal value to reinvest. He's just not going to ever be a keeper, Andrews. So if you've got him somehow, I think he was about 4% owned or something. He can make way in the same way as the others, but a lot more confident trade out than anyone else we've mentioned, including Hawkinson.
Yeah, and especially with Likely in there as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's not enough to go around as it is. And even with Lamar back, there's actually a new story came out today that they're looking at. There's rumors from the beat writer that they're looking to shop Andrews. So it might actually be an option if you go somewhere that's tight end needy, who actually have a better offense. But in SuperCoach, you can't wait that out. You just got to cut ties, I think, and move on. My final one is Juwan Johnson. He was a bit of a hot pickup a few weeks ago when I think he was the tight end 1 or 2 or 3 at that stage after a couple of weeks or 3 weeks. He had a really bad game, and he's become a victim of Taysom Hill being back. The cancer that is Taysom Hill on fantasy, the virus, the plague that runs through that horrible team. He brings everyone down, and Juwan Johnson is his latest victim. So break even's 31. No way he's hitting that. He's hardly got a target. Foster Moreau's also back, so it's an ugly 3-headed tight end monster. It's gross. If you got Juwan, he did a job for you, but time to cut.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler as well, still there slinging the ball as best as he can, but he's also running more. So yeah, you're right. It's just an ugly situation. Yeah. Cut ties what you want. His break even's 31, and the last 3 weeks 16, 8, and then 5. So yeah, there's no chance he's hitting that with all those tight ends back.
Yeah, get back to the no Saints policy that everybody should have implemented in week 1. Yeah, the smart play.
Yeah, we had a fun ride, but now it's time to get a grip again. And yeah, let's not give Saints any more screen time than we already have.
Until Kendre Miller gets the keys to the backfield and goes for 120 yards every week. But anyway, we'll wait till that happens.
Yeah, and that could be coming to us shortly. Going on to the next couple of positions here, and we will run through these quickly because we do not like discussing. I know myself for sure. Kickers, we only really have one guy here, and it's a very standout, no question. Spencer Schrader, kicker for the Indianapolis Colts. He did tear his ACL and also MCL during week 5. So he's done for the year. He's at a whopping 10.34 million. So if you did have him on your team, well done. You've made a whole heap of cash. But now it's time to move on from Spencer Schrader, and we'll have a little kicking option later on this one. But moving over to defenses, Secko, who have you got here as a top trade out target before we head into our trade ins?
Yeah, the only real one that's pressing. I mean, we're not looking at actively trading defenses and streaming like we would in a normal fantasy format. But the other one is the Vikings. If you've got them, they're on the bye. Their break even's 57. They come back to Philly, the Chargers, the Lions, and then Lamar with Baltimore the next 4. So I think you can make, and they're $13 million. So you can actually make good money going down to we'll get to it later, but there's options in the sort of low single figures that you can go down to and make good money and facilitate a trade or put in the bank to for a future trade when you're gonna need it to get up to some big boys. So I think you just do it now, start a defense now, move on. The Vikings aren't going to be that dominant defense that a lot of people bought them in to be. And a lot of people, I think they were double digit owned last time I saw. 11% owned. So 3,500 people have the Vikings. They can move on now, go down because DST is so volatile anyway. You may as well just pick someone who is $5, $6, $7 million and pocket the rest.
Love it. That is our trade outs. Now moving into a more positive segment here. Our trade ins, starting off with quarterback. And we've got some nice juicy cheapies to kick things off. Jackson Dart, his price rise will come into effect from next week. 4.3 million and a whopping break even of -50. So he's going to make a whole heap of cash for you there. The passing attack there for New York does look very gross. They've had Darius Slayton go down, and also Malik Neighbors, of course. He's out for the rest of the year. But Dart, he doesn't really need too many pass catches there. He just runs the ball a whole heap, and that really boosts up his production. And that whopping break even, he's just going to make so much cash. So Cam Ward to Jackson Dart, that's an absolute no-brainer. But any other things on Dart for you, Secko, before we look into the next cheapie?
The only thing is if he has 3 straight 25s, which I don't think is much, he's gone 38-35 the first 2 weeks. If he has 25-25-25, he makes over $7 million for you in those 3 weeks. So if for no other reason, he's definitely not getting benched. He's the identity of that team. You said it really well. Even without pass catches, he's getting 10 points in rushing and another 12 in rushing touchdowns. That's 22. He might get 1 every second game. It's still 6. He's doing over 20 points in rushing. That's the floor you need to make massive money. Whatever he does throwing is a bonus there. I think it's just if you can move off someone, he's the one to do it too. He's the number 1 pick this week.
And our next cheap option here, this guy's got another week until he is on the bubble. Cleveland Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel. So he made the switch for Flacco, and now Flacco is absolutely gone out the door with that one. So he's even cheaper than Jackson Dart. He's at 3.7 mil. His break even isn't as whopping. It is -21, but he does have a couple more weeks until he does hit that bubble there.
He is on the bubble.
He's on the bubble.
He played. He played in week 2, so he got 9 points in week 2. So it does count. So he is on the bubble -21, and for that reason, because he had that 9 points that he got in about half of a quarter, an eighth of a game, that's going to bring him down. So, but the good thing is, if you do choose to go with him, you don't like Dart for any reason, or you just want to stay away, he's definitely an option, a little bit cheaper. And if he has a good game next week, his break even will be probably lower than Dart's with the same type of game. That's just how the break even system works, because that 9 drops out, the 32 becomes his second last score, and then if he has another 30, he'll have a similar break even to what Dart has this week. So something to keep an eye on. That's just how it operates. But they're both options. Choose your favorite, but I choose Dart.
Gee, daylight savings, SuperCoach bubbles, it's all just cooking with you at the moment. Secko, we've got a couple of nice options as well if you are moving off a couple of those primos like we mentioned in Jared Goff and also Justin Herbert. These guys here, and I'll throw this one out, really do like this guy as much as it pains me as a Buffalo Bills fan, but Patty Mahomes, just under 23 mil, 22.95, low break even of 16. and he has Rashee Rice back next week as well, which is absolutely massive for the Chiefs. Their run game is non-existent, to say the least, besides Kareem Hunt getting goal line touchdowns, just as I think that's just a given. He's just absolutely loves a touchdown, that guy. But Mahomes has just been having to do all the work himself for these ones. And we're seeing him, he's had a couple of big games last couple of weeks, and I can't see that slowing down, especially when Rashee Rice comes back into the fold, and also Xavier Worthy gets a little bit healthier there for the Chiefs. So he's a great switch over with Patty Mahomes, and he's got a bit of a later bye. I believe it is week 10.
It's 10. Yeah, 10. Yeah.
Week 10. So you've got a good few weeks still for Patty Mahomes, so he can get you through those bye-mageddons in week 8 and week 9. But what other primo options do you have here for a Secko in the quarterback position?
Big option who, if you had thought about it ahead and got him in before his big game last week, would have been amazing, because Justin Fields is up to $17.3 million. He's a stepping stone sort of situation. He's definitely not a keeper in my reckoning, but he's doing the job. He's had some really solid 2 solid weeks in a row, 54, then 51. He's actually had a 58-7, which is the injury game, missed a week, then 54-51. So the injury game was injured in the third quarter, so it was going to be poor anyway, but 3 of his 4 scores are above 50. And that's what you get from a rushing quarterback. He does it with his legs. So, again, he's sort of a mid-price, 17.3 mil, minus 10 break even, though. He'll go up, and his buy is week 9. He might be a guy you pick up if you want to try and make, eke out an extra sort of 20 grand and maybe score a 40 or 50 in the next couple of weeks, and then go to someone off their buy in week 7, 8, or 9, or week 7 or 8, because he's in week 9. That might be the option as a bit of a mid-pricer. And the other one is Dak. Dak Prescott, similar sort of price, a little bit more. He's 21.6, break even at 2. He's just been lights out. He gets CeeDee Lamb back fairly soon as well. So he's a sneaky chance if you sort of back your convictions to be a potential keeper. The way I see it, the way I would have said it 3 weeks ago is do everything you can to get Lamar and Josh Allen, and that's it. Now I've come around a little bit to go, you could probably settle for any one of 5 quarterbacks in my head. Dak is a last, not someone you optimistically want or aspirationally want at the end of the season, but I think he's going to score well enough with CD back, with Pickens now a lot more aware of the playbook and the situation, and Ferguson is the outlet valve, and obviously Javonte has been better. The entire offense has been better. This guy, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar, are guys you could realistically go to the end with, which seems weird to say now, but I've changed my sort of tune on who I might want to end up with out of round 10, 11, because of the way they're playing.
And that's the key thing. We had our prize before getting to this point, but in this NFL game, it's super volatile. We also have to stay like water and kind of be willing to move as the tides change here. And the best thing that we love about Dak, Cowboys defense absolutely sucks. So just the amount of points that they're going to have to be throwing around to stay in games, like we saw against Green Bay, 40-40. There's going to be a lot more game scripts like that as we get further on. But there are our quarterback trade-ins there. Some very nice options. And going on to our running back options here. And again, I just have to take the easy one, Secko, and leave the harder ones for you. Bijan Robinson, running back there for the Atlanta Falcons. He's coming off his bye. You're going to have him as a keeper for the rest of the year. He's an absolute stud. The workload is just proven. He's going to get a heap more touchdowns. He gets so much work in the receiving game as well, which we absolutely love. He ticks all the boxes. A good offensive line as well there at the Falcons. And he's got a bit of a low break even, 38 for him at the moment. And he's a lock to be in the final top 6, and 21.3 million. Again, if you are moving off a couple of those primos, like we mentioned, James Cook, you could easily make that change to Bijan Robinson there. And you're going to have him for the rest of the year. So that's a nice, easy one there. What other running backs do you have for us here, Secko, besides Bijan?
No, I love that call. He probably won't be any cheaper, even though his break even is 38. I don't think he's going to be much cheaper than 21 million, based on his previous score in week 4. So Great shout. Lock him in. He's a lock for the top 4, in my opinion. Just get him in if you haven't got him, and you can ride it through. Similar kind of guy, Josh Jacobs, not as good, not as high a ceiling, but I still think a sneaky chance for it as the top 6 finish in the running back for rest of the season for me. He's past his buy as well. His break even's only 22, so he'll go up in price. You probably won't get him any cheaper. So if you've already got Bijan, you've already got CMC, JT, whatever. This guy could be a really good option for a 4th, and if things don't work out amazingly, his price will be good enough that you can pivot off him to someone off their buy in weeks 8 and 9, or wherever that pays out. So he's an option similar to Bijan, not as good obviously, but still someone I think is a viable end of season keeper type. I think he's a lot better than what he's done in the first 4 weeks as well.
Yeah, and the rest of the schedule for the Green Bay Packers, it's the most favorable remaining for the running back position based off how the defenses have lined up so far. So, yeah, absolutely love the Josh Jacobs one, and $3 million cheaper than Bijan too. So, yeah, that's just absolute money for Jam. But Secko, it sounds like you had another one there for us lined up, ready to go.
Yeah, the other one was Jonathan Taylor. It's a really hard buy. I've started with the sort of more expensive guys. We'll get to some cheaper options next, but JT at $24.13 million. That's got to be top of the trees. Break even's 48. He can beat that. He can go up more, but I don't think we can expect him to go that much higher. For me, it's just way too expensive to spend at this stage of things before we've had all the buys. He still has a buy to come. I know it's later in the year, I think week 11, but for me, it's just a bit rich to spend 24 mil at this stage, especially when we've sort of had a bit of we've been forced to sell out Hampton a little bit sooner than we wanted to, and we're still to hold on to some of our bigger cash cows as well. So it's sort of like he's better. Your team's better when he's in it. I know you have him. I think you have him, don't you?
I got him in.
So you don't have to worry
a few weeks ago.
You don't have to worry about this. Yeah, you don't have to worry about this. You probably paid 20 million for him. And I always thought he'd never get above that 20 or 21. So when I wanted him, I'd get him. But he's been amazing, right? So I get the want to get him in, the dopamine hit that comes along with having Jonathan Taylor and the VC and C option there, and just watching him, he's just amazing to watch and score big points for you. So I get it. For me, it's a no, but absolutely, if you can make it work, 24 mil, lock him in. The week 11 buy won't be an issue to cover off the bench. You may just need to have a rookie cheapie, or let your flex do the work for that 1 week.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud, and I think there's every chance he can top that 48 break even this week against the Cardinals. Could have another multi-touchdown score game for JT following last week.
Hope so.
Fingers crossed. Another guy here, and I'll take the cheaper option that we have here.
Yeah.
And the absolute sensation that's finally starting to kick into gear for us here. Bill, as he goes by, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the running back for the Washington Commanders. This last week gone, he's just got the keys to the kingdom for the Commanders now. He looks like the clear best back that they have on that team. He had a whopping 111 yards on the ground on 14 carries and also 2 touchdowns. He also saw 2 catches for 39 yards to the air as well. And the next best, Rodriguez, only had 5 opportunities in that running back room. So he solidified himself. He will be the RB1 on that team moving forward on a high-powered offense that we absolutely love to see. His break-even is -19, so he's still going to make a whole heap of cash. And he's just over 8 mil at 8.17. So again, if you do want to move off of Mario and Hampton, you'll make you'll save about 4 mil in that process and probably make a heap more once Bill really starts kicking the gear. They also have this week, I don't think it was that hard of a matchup. But yeah, Chicago Bears. So Chicago Bears and then Dallas. So that's so juicy. He should absolutely smack. And probably have a higher break even when we talk about him probably again in next week's trade show there. So yeah, he's coming online. If you have held on for him, well done in practicing patience with that, and you're starting to reap the rewards with Bill Krosky-Merritt there. But we've got one more name here on this list, Secko. Who have we got?
Yeah, it's Javonte. We've pretty much hit on him every week. His price is getting up there, but he's still only 15 mil. The people in the community are starting to sort of think that he might be a keeper type, which I think it's a big call. But he's performing he's performing well enough to just wait and see. And you're probably not bringing him in now. He's $15 million, but his break even is -5, so he's making money. You can do a lot worse. They've got they've got the week 9 buy, which is not as hardcore a buy. I think that's right. Is that right? Week 9 buy.
Week 10, I think it was.
Week 10. So yeah, it's even less. So you can sort of keep him till then. Is there a chance? Well, he'll definitely be more because he's -5. He's definitely going up in some capacity. If he keeps this going, he could be up to sort of 17, 18, and then you'd pretty much sideways him to someone later in the season. So he's an option if you're feeling FOMO and want to get him in. I completely understand. Javonte Williams at 14.9.
Yeah, Javonte Williams as a potential keeper for season long. Again, just things that you would have never picked 5 weeks ago. But hey, he's looking good. He's looking good there, and he just keeps on going. For the wide receiver trade in positions here, and off the top, Deebo Samuel, a guy that I believe Mav was pretty high on coming out, and he's been a big beneficiary of the Terry McLaurin injury and also him missing camp for the most part of the preseason. Slow to ramp up. I think Terry is slated to play in week 6, not confirmed yet, but it is trending towards that direction. But even still, Deebo's just getting so much work. He looks like the best receiver that they have. And now Jaden Daniels is back on deck. He's really establishing that connection with Deebo even more. And he's got the Bears up again this week. So 12.5 million, -4 break even. Yeah, you can definitely do a whole lot worse, and he's going to make a whole heap of cash, especially this week when they put so many points on the Bears there. But who do you have as a trade-in for wide receivers, Secko?
Love the Deebo shout. Back-to-back wide receiver 1 weeks. Yeah, and I don't think Terry's going to come in and absolutely platoon that. So yeah, -4. Great shout. My pick is Drake London. Very, very heavy trade-out candidate. I think week 3, I'm going to guess. Had the bye last week. But he had a really good week before. He's in week 4 when everyone's sort of trading him out. So his break even's only 17. He's passed his bye, similar way to talking about Bijan and Josh Jacobs. He's passed his bye, low break even. I think he's a sneaky chance to be a top 6 wide receiver. I will bring out my official rankings sometime in the next week, who I think will be the top 6 and then the top 10 for wide receivers and the other positions. I'm just working on that now. But London for me is an outside chance to be a top 6, if not 7, 8, and still be very much in that conversation. I think we all sort of want 7 receivers, so we don't have to worry about doing trades and being short towards the end of the season. Having a reliable wide receiver 7 on the bench there. Drake London fits that bill perfectly. 13.69 million, if I didn't say it. It might suck if you trade him out only a few weeks ago, but you've got to sort of separate your emotion from that and see it as a guy, as an option, as if you never owned him. If you never did own him, he's 13.7. Given what we've now seen, that rapport looks like it's back onto where it was. It is a positive move as long as you believe in Michael Penix somewhat, which we don't believe him in a lot, but he was always able to get the ball to London, which is his only job.
Yeah, and London was also dealing with a little injury throughout week 2 onwards too. So hopefully now he's fully past that as well, because that definitely did hamper him for a couple of weeks that we were let down by. And yeah, you're right. This is the lowest point he's ever been, 13.69 million. Very nice there. I know for me, I did have London to start the year, and he was a trade out, I think, in week 2 or week 3. But hey, I'm not gonna hold grudges. I'd be looking to move him back in because again, past that bye, even better. I don't need to worry about another trade unless of injury. And another guy that's very similarly priced, Rome Odunze for the Chicago Bears. Again, past his bye, it's coming off it. Potential top 8 wide receiver that we have here. And yeah, he's the number 1 for the Bears, far and above. I think DJ Moore probably gets traded. He just seems like the odd man out. So watch this space over the next 4 weeks before the trade deadline at the start of November, I believe. But break even of 20 should absolutely smack that this week. They do have Washington, which again, they haven't really been too hot against wide receivers so far this year. And yeah, it looks like his connection with Caleb Williams, his quarterback, and also Ben Johnson, things are really starting to click. And normally after that bye, you can usually see things click even more. So hopefully for Rome Odunze, and again, cheap, under 14 mil, absolutely love it. We've got one last wide receiver here, Secko. Who might that be?
It's Jalen Waddle, and he has been through the full roller coaster of fantasy football in 5 weeks. He was a sort of a hot name, a bit of a sleeper sort of target. He was starting in a bunch of teams in SuperCoach start of the year, and then everyone saw that it was absolutely rubbish. They got boat raced by the Colts in the first week, and a lot of people realised that maybe it wasn't the smartest play to go with any Dolphins players. Tyreek sort of was back and playing well, and now Tyreek's out, and he's out for the season, and probably out, potentially out for his career. Waddle, first week back, gets 40 points. He's only 11.9 mil. He went up 700,000, so he had a pretty high break even. It was in the high 30s, and he beat that. He's on the way up. He's low break even. He'll go up if you want a play to sort of get through again the next sort of X amount of weeks with a guy who's fieldable as opposed to a dud rookie option. This guy's going to make some money. He doesn't have a bye to week 12, so you can get a fieldable player to get through the bye weeks to score well and make some money along the way. So if you're looking for that kind of player in that mid price range, you're not loving Debo with the bye coming up a bit sooner. Waddle is the option there at 11.9.
Yeah, I love it. Even better the later buy as well. So if there's anything that you guys can take away from today, make sure that you're managing these buys, because you'll be thanking yourselves if you get on the front foot as it gets to those massive bye weeks in week 8 and week 9. But that's our wide receivers. Going on to tight ends, and I'm going to take the easiest one, the guy that is just again, I think probably the best trade-in option that you can have, especially if you do have one of those primo tight ends. Darren Waller, tight end for the Miami Dolphins. Who could have saw this coming? He was ramping up for, an extra 4 or so weeks as he missed the first month of the season. But it's just worked out so well for Waller. Tyreek's gone down. He had 2 touchdowns in his first game, followed up with another touchdown, and his snap share increased, and also his volume, which we absolutely love to see. 3.7 million, just so cheap, cheaper than the rookies that we had at the start of the year. Break even is a whopping minus 44. And again, like Waddle, his buy is in week 12 and no Tyreek. So it's really going to be those 2 guys. And I really think Waller is the top touchdown threat for the Miami Dolphins. I know Jalen Waddle, he has been seeing a couple of touchdowns, but when they're within that 10-yard line to that red zone, Tua has just been looking for a massive 6'6" man in Darren Waller. So it's nice and easy for me. Make that move. You make a whole heap of cash. And it's a no-brainer here. But who else do you have here for a tight end trade-in?
Yeah, before we move on, I just want to talk about the money there, the price, the dollar situation, like I spoke about in the trade outs. 3 weeks time, if Darren Waller only scores 20, he scored 32 both weeks. If he only scores 20 the next 3 weeks, so that's weeks 6 and 7, the next 2 weeks, he'll be up to almost $9 million. And at that same time, McBride will be around 12 at the most, maybe 11 and a half. And Bowers will be the same or lower. So it's an option. Even if you think that they're both keepers, Bowers obviously isn't playing, but he still might. Still do the Waller trade out. You're making so much money to then literally, you're making 7 mil to get, or no, how much are they? So you're making 9 mil to get them back for a couple later. So you're just making $7 million for nothing. You're not losing many points, if any. It's just a smart move. If you're not looking at Waller or you already got him, I know some people already got him last week. They had itchy fingers and they went a week early. And you're still looking for, if you've still got Bowers or McBride or Andrews or Hawkinson. There's 2 guys I want to talk about. Theo Johnson from the New York Giants, $6.8 million. His break even is minus 17. He had 2 touchdowns on the weekend. With Slayton going down and Neighbors out, Jackson Dart found a guy he liked in the red zone, which is the best part about it's tight ends. Tight ends are pretty much touchdown or bust in fantasy format. So a guy who is a reliable tight end in the end zone for a rookie quarterback is a great guy to pick up. The other option is Mason Taylor from the New York Jets, the other New York team. Pretty similar situation. He's a rookie this year. Theo Johnson's second-year player. But he's cheaper at 5.46, break-even's -14. He had more targets and catches. He had 9 targets, 7 catches, 60-something yards. It's a similar sort of situation, though. They don't have many options in New York for the Jets, other than Garrett Wilson and Brees out of the backfield. So this guy's necessary. Bit of a Charles Clay situation. They need him. He's sort of in the face of Justin Fields, more his eye line, because he's a big dude, and just gets the easy target. So those two options are guys if you're going to trading down and already had Waller.
Love it. And if you're looking to spend up and lock in a little bit more solidified points, Jake Ferguson, we've been absolutely beating this drum. I know, Secko, you've been a mad Jake Ferg stand over the last few weeks. He's made a whole heap of cash. He's at 11.77 mil and a break even of -3. So he's still going to make a heap of cash. Their buy again for the Cowboys is in week 10. So you've got a couple of good weeks there with a premium option in Jake Ferguson. And with CD still out for the next couple, that production isn't really going to go away during that time. He's just locked and loaded. Dak absolutely loves him, and he's also a threat in the red zone, which we absolutely love.
He's the number 1 ranked tight end by points per game average in SuperCoach by 3.5 points to the next closest, not including Jaron Waller's 2 games. So obviously guys who played more than 2 games. He's so far and above the number 1 tight end. You don't have to think, you're not a crazy man if you or lady to think he's a keeper. And look, I know the name value of Bowers and McBride tell you that they're the best options. What's saying that Jake Ferguson doesn't end up scoring more than them from here on out, not just up till now. So it's the same as it was, same as the quarterbacks. A bit different now than it was 3 weeks ago when I would have put all my money on the world that my team would have Bowers and McBride in it in round 9. Now I'm starting to think that that's not necessarily the way it's going to go. And I've been holding little Georgie Kittle all this time. He might just end up being my nice little tight end 1 when he comes back from injury, and never let him go. And then Tyler Warren stays in there with Waller until they both fatten into a nice juicy whoever it is.
I love it. I mean, we're a bit sport for choice with tight ends this week. There's just so many. You definitely don't have that happen too often. But Secko, I'm going to throw it to you with as we get on here to kickers, because honestly, I've just had enough. I don't want to talk about him. And this guy's last name, I always mispronounce it as well. So I'm going to throw that to you.
It's Borregales. He is from Venezuela, hence why it's hard to say his name. He's from a kicking family, I heard on the weekend or on Sunday Night Football. He grew up idolizing Adam Vinatieri. That's always nice. His favorite player was a kicker. So that's a good thing he became a kicker, I suppose. But yeah, he's 5.8 mil. He's been really good. The Patriots are getting into scoring position a lot. It's going to continue. Drake May is on the ascension. We all seem to identify that pretty easily. If you had Schrader, you can save 4.5 mil. Get this guy in. They've got a late buy as well. I'm pretty sure. Is it week 14 from the top of my head?
Yeah, week 14.
So you can just ride this dude all the way till then, and then if you've got Loop on the bench or whatever, or in the other slot, you can just put him on for 1 week and whatever you want to do. But this guy will make some money. Not that it matters. You'll have him until round 14 because why not? He's a kicker. They're all the same. I'll keep going into DSTs because it shares the same thing. The Patriots is my pickup. They've been surprising to some, not to others. Really, really good. A really good unit. They are coached by a defensive-minded guy he was a very good player. Those Titans teams that Mike Vrabel coached were always pretty good defensively as well. They're only $6 million. So if you're coming down from a Vikings, same sort of situation as coming from a Schrader for Borregales. These guys have a bye in week 14. You're saving $7.5 million going down from the Vikings. You're probably getting a net positive in score over the next 10 weeks anyway, especially with the bye in there. And then the same thing, whoever your other defense on the DST2 spot is, put them in for that 1 week. But the Patriots are scoring well enough to keep them in, and they're -5 break even. So they'll make money if you do want to trade them out.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Patriots. I think for me this week, if I didn't have the Patriots, that'd be my second top trade-in option, because looking at their upcoming schedule, it is just so juicy. They're taking on the Saints this week in Spencer Rattler, Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward in week 7, and Dylan Gabriel and the Browns in week 8, and also the Falcons, Michael Penix Jr. in week 9. So that they can definitely get after the quarterback in all of those next 4 upcoming games. And Christian Gonzalez, their star corner, he was dealing with injury to start the year, but now he's ramping up and he looks really, really good as well. So didn't think we'd spend that much time on a defense, but the Pats, it's such a no-brainer. I think, they look so good. And that late buy, like you mentioned, Secko, is just a nice big win as well. But they are our trade-ins and trade-outs for the week, heading into week 6. Before we get into the questions and comments, firstly, thanks heaps everyone for throwing these in. We will be getting to all of these very shortly, but we have to give flowers to our Unlimited League Week 5 top point scored winner. And I'll throw this up here. Where is this? Here. So Crowies Crows in our Unlimited League for Week 5 put up a whopping 614 score. I will just quickly read through his team here in case that is a little bit smaller if you are watching that on your mobile phone. But Brent, Crows, if you are watching this, please get in touch. We will have some posts up on socials tomorrow. So please get into the DMs and we'll be able to sort out your standard squeeze 4-in-1 prize for coming first this week. But starting off from the top, we had Patty Mahomes as his captain in his starting quarterback, JJ McCarthy on the bench, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Marion Hampton, Ashton Genty, all in his starting running backs. He's got Bijan Robinson on the bench and some bloke called Waters. Secko, I've got absolutely no idea who that guy is.
I'm a Rams fan, mate. I've got no idea, so I can't even help you.
That's right. He's just saving up some cash there, going with him.
Yeah.
In the wide receiver starting spot for Week 5, he had Puka Nakua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka, and Tedderell McMillan. He has Renfro for the Carolina Panthers on bench, and also Travis Hunter. Tight ends, he's got a couple of nice options here in Jake Ferguson and Tyler Warren. Cole Pitts on the bench. Who can forget? Absolutely love it. I think that's probably why he's got a little points boost with Cole Pitts there. It's a nice little Easter egg for the SuperCoach app. Josh Cardi, the kicker for the Rams, starting. He's got Loop on the bench. He's got the Pats defense, which we absolutely love to see. Falcons on the bench, and Josh Allen as his flex position here. But Secko, this team here, all in all, pretty nice all around. 4 bye coverage. He's really only got Justin Jefferson to worry about. So that's probably where we'll look to head if we are looking at trades. But in that wide receiver position, who would you be looking to bring in? And would you trade out Justin Jefferson, or would you just move off a couple of these bench options that he has?
Yeah, it's a really tough one because this team doesn't have the the glaring issues like Pitts to Wallet only makes you $5 million. And it's really hard to find the way to make. I would just ride with Renfro on the field and ride out Jefferson. It sounds really crazy. I wish that was a slightly better option. I wish either him or Hunter was someone better, but you can't get rid of Ferguson or Warren, or Pitts isn't enough money to get to Waller or get from Waller. McCarthy, you can go to Dart, but there's no money in that either yet. And then obviously the running backs, you can get rid of Hampton. Get rid of Hampton because Bijan's on the bench. You can go him down to a Bill. You could do Pitts to Waller and do Hunter. Quick sums, what's that? 5 and 4, 9. So that, depending on what's in the bank, 14 mil plus something. You should be able to get something. A Debo, a Jalen Waddle, someone that's going to make money and keep going in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, or even a little Matthew Golden if you didn't have any cash there. He's still cheap, and he's got the Cincinnati Bengals this week, so you could put up some points there if you wanted to go cheap. But Crows, well done. Week 5 winner, whopping 614. I will just flip us back over here. And I was a little bit upset here, Secko. I finally put up a good score in SuperCoach and only finished 9th for the week in this one. So, we've got some absolutely dialed-in members in our league. I had 583. I finished in week 6, but thanks to JT,
big one.
Had the VC on Jonathan Taylor
Captain.
and looped nice. That one up. So that was a nice one that really carried my team. But again, Brent, Crows, if you are watching this, make sure to get in touch. We'll have some posts up on social media tomorrow for you to react to here. But we will get into some comments before we get onto that, guys. As always, if you are watching on YouTube, hit that like button. If you want to stay in tune with when we are going live and dropping these videos, subscribe and ring that bell. You'll get notified 30 minutes prior to when we come here. And we absolutely love it that like button being smashed. It just really fills up Mav's heart in particular. So make sure you're jumping to that one there. Moving on to comments, and we do have a paid comment here. Thanks heaps, Dees, for throwing this one in here. We'll get to this one first. So you've got here, drop Tootin for Ridley, drop Travis Hunter for maybe Mason Taylor, tight end gents, perhaps. I'm going to say that this is a traditional fantasy question.
Yeah, it has to be,
if I had to guess. Follow up here, got Buck.
Rashad White,
Rashad White,
JCM, Rico Dardle, A-Chain, QJ, and Tootin.
And Tootin.
So he's getting rid of Tootin for Ridley.
Yeah,
he's saying. And the other one was, who was it for Mason Taylor?
Drop Travis Hunter for Mason Taylor. So I think you probably could.
Yeah. Hunter can go. Yeah.
Hunter can, and Secko, you're moving Tootin for Ridley as well. He is starting to kind of on the up.
Yeah. I mean, there's not heaps in that rut. I mean, you got A-Chan and Bell will be good. Rico is getting another week potentially, but he's going to get mixed in, and actually he could potentially take over Chuba. I did say at the start of the year, and everyone said I was mad, but the money doesn't always tell the truth. Sometimes the better player just gets the better opportunity, and Rico showed he can be the better player. I'd go Tootin to Ridley if it's still an option for you.
Yeah, and even on this, he's just picked up Michael Carter. So definitely drop Tootin if you picked him up.
He's got depth. Yeah, he's got starting depth. It's a good thing about these guys that have come the last couple of weeks is that they're providing you. If you get two or three of them, you can play the matchups a bit. You can go Dowdle, Carter, one of these Chargers guys if you got them. If you find out who's the sort of guy, so it's a bit of a piecemeal until you get a bit more clarity.
Yeah, love it. Thanks heaps. Again, decent. You've also got here drop Dart. Again, it's a little hard to think of the context of this league, but because you're talking about Raiders defense here, I'm thinking it might be one quarterback.
It'll be one QB. Yeah, it'll be one QB, I reckon.
Yeah.
You
probably could drop Dart, honestly, depending on what your starting quarterback is. But because quarterbacks, of course, in one QB aren't worth as much, and looks like it is a one QB there. But thanks heaps, Steve, for throwing that in. Hope we've answered that one for you. Very much appreciated. But we'll go back up here from the top. IJ, I hope you're feeling better, Mav. Did you have a beer to soothe your throat? Yeah, this was one from last night, trying to give Mav some medicine to what would set him straight. He was dealing with a bit of sickness, but yeah, Mav, he's had too many beers. That's why he's not on this one tonight, IJ. So he should be ready to roll for tomorrow. Another follow up here. I'm pretty set on trading McCarthy and McBride to Dart and Waller. Can I please get your thoughts on this trade? I mean, Secko, for you, I mean, that looks like a pretty nice trade to me.
Yeah, it is. It is, IJ. You're pretty spot on there. The only thing is that JJ McCarthy, you're actually losing money on the trade. I mean, you're making money on the back end because Dart's going to make more money. Potentially, if JJ McCarthy's back next week, though, there's a chance that they make the same amount of money. So it depends on sort of what you're needing. If you need to do a bye week cover next week, potentially, because JJ might not be back yet, but I think he will be. So feel free to do it. Just be mindful that you may end up with a net dollar and point neutral out of that trade. But McBride to Waller, 100%. I've said that. Do it.
Love it. And Lachlan Hammond in here with another trade question. Loveland to Waller. Yeah, that's nice and easy. Definitely, you can pull the trigger on that one. Trey Harris to not sure, but need a wide receiver for bench. I have 12.8 mil cash. Then the following week, go Bowers to Ferguson, most likely. So yeah, definitely. And looking at our wide receiver trade ends, Waddle, you could probably move in there for Trey Harris or even Debo as well. You'll be able to get both of those guys with that cash there. Anyone that you'd be leaning more so towards Secko between Debo and Waddle, or any other names that you've got?
No, they're the two names. I'd probably go with Waddle because I think I'm pretty sure their run is pretty easy. Let me just vet that really, really quickly. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere they've got. No, that's not true. Go Debo, because I know they have two really easy opponents the next 2 weeks. So look, only 2 weeks ahead. Debo's going to make more money as well, so you got a chance to pivot off him to someone even better. So yeah, Trey Harris to Debo's my pick there, and Bowers to Ferguson. Yeah, 100% next week, this week, last week,
Love it.
whenever you want to do it.
Love it. And Josh Zapp, thanks for throwing this one in. Hey, boys, considering JSN and Puka have same bye, should I trade out Aya Manor because we'll have to play him that week? I know it's early, but he's also losing cash. And a follow-up, he's also going Bowers to Waller. Love it. And Hampton to Jacobs. Yeah, love that one as well. With 16 mil in the bank. Should be able to go JJ McCarthy to someone decent when Josh Allen is on bye. So we love to see the forward planning on this one here. What do you think here, Secko, with moving on Aya Manor just to kind of cover and without having to move JSN or Puka?
Yeah. Yeah, no, good. Spot on. Josh is a pretty sharp guy here with this one. Yeah, look, Airman has got to go. I'm in the same boat. So I wish I didn't have him. I took a chance on him. I really thought he was going to be, because he'd taken over as number one, and now it looks like that's sort of come back to Ridley's sort of domain. So frustrating. I'm forced to go him as well. So I think you got to do it, Josh. You can deal with any other trades later, but boosting him out, it's a forward thought, but you'll be better. He'll lose money. So it's a better trade now to get someone in for him, whoever you can sort of justify, as long as they're going to make money or be a keeper.
Yeah, and on that, Josh, if we didn't answer this, Bowers to Waller, yeah, great deal, and Hampton to Jacob.
Yeah,
that's spot on. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Charles Zammit, love to see your comments in here, Charles. You're always around, which we love to see. Hey, gents, great to join in. Thoughts on holding JJ McCarthy rather than using a trade on Dart? I figure next week we'll probably make the same money when he gets back. So, yeah, I think I'm probably in this boat. I'm not moving away from JJ McCarthy. I'm just going to save a trade and see what happens.
That's essentially what I said in relation to IJ's question off the top. Charles hit that in the head. So thinking very much the same way. I think as I said, net neutral in money and probably points, realistically over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So if you need to start someone this week, obviously, I'm not sure why you would. No one got injured, did they? Unless you had someone who got the can. But or if you started, you're not starting Wentz or Stroud. But yeah, if you had to start one, obviously you're picking Dart to start. But if not, if you're going to sit in the QB2 spot, just stick with JJ. He'll make money. His break even is -3, so he's still good.
Love it. And from IJ here, we've got a couple of quick hitters here to add on. Is there a world where McBride is a hold? I can either trade McBride or likely to Waller. And on this, I have Kraft, McBride, likely, and looking at trading McCarthy to Dart as one trade. Who in the TE should I trade out between McBride and likely? You're going to probably lose the most cash with McBride. Do you think Secko there? Is he the guy that you're looking to move, or you're moving likely? Or
I've done absolutely zero research on likely's anything, because I didn't know anyone had him. He scored 3 last week. He didn't have much of a thing. He's 8.9 million. He's an awkward price. He's a bit like Kyle Pitts from Brent's Crows team, in that you're not getting a lot of money out of him to go to Waller. Having said that, I don't know if I love the idea of having likely on my team. It's the same narrative as the other Ravens guys. I'd probably trade McBride. Ugh, no, it sounds wrong. Yeah, I'd probably trade McBride. Oh no, Likely's gonna buy next week. I'll trade Likely and then deal with McBride later if you need to, if another guy pops up. But yeah, you can keep McBride. He's actually usable. Likely, I don't see him being as usable in the short term or long term.
Yeah, I love it. I'm on your side there, Secko, especially with the bye next week for those guys. Punter. Thanks for throwing this one in. I have Warren and Waller already with Bowers running on the bench. Could use Bowers money if there is anyone to go down to. So another option there, Theo Johnson, Mason Taylor, those guys are going to make cash. If you do want to move off Bowers and use that trade and get a bit of cash back in the bank, are you looking to do this, Secko, if it was you, if you had Bowers sitting there and you had Warren and Waller in the wings?
Yeah, I would go Mason Taylor. Yeah, I would do that. I would even consider Jake Ferguson, but you've already got 2 startable options there. You're having to bench. You could bench Waller. Waller's not a guarantee to score well every week. But he's just likelihood to score you well enough, like sort of Warren's been doing. The options are Taylor, Johnson, or Ferguson. You sort of do what you want to do. Ferguson could be a keeper for you. Waller probably won't be. But yeah, I'd probably go Mason Taylor to make some money as well. So you got all three of those guys minus break even, still making money. I think Ty Warren's still a negative break even again. Might be wrong there.
Love it. And Sleaze Jesus, fellas, who do I trade for Keon Coleman? Have only 2 mil in the bank. So Keon is just over 8 mil at the moment. So we've got about 10 to play with. So you will miss out on Waddle and Debo. I mean, looking at this list, there's some pretty gross names. An easy one, if you don't have Tet already, Tet McMillan, he's at 7.6. So I'd definitely be throwing him in, but very good chance you've already got him. Oh, gee, besides that, Secko, I mean, there's not a lot that we're working with here. I mean, Matthew Golden, under 5 mil. He's going to make cash. Yeah, you could go that and even bank a little bit more on top. Yeah, or even Isaiah.
Go down.
Isaiah Bond is also a cheap one, just over 4.
Yeah, Bond. Yeah,
4 mil.
Sleaze Jesus, great name. You have to go down. Unfortunately, I mean not unfortunately. That seems really harsh. You just got to get into someone who's cheaper, who's going to make money. Golden's an option. I'm not sure he's going to make a boatload of cash, but you haven't really sort of stuck in that no man's land. If you can't get more money to facilitate a trade, I'm assuming Coleman's on. What's Coleman's break even? Is it heaps? Is it? That's why. Is it a forced trade? Must be.
It must be pretty high.
Yeah. Where is he? Oh, there he is. So his break even is not showing on here. So 16. It could be a hold. It's hard. It's a hard one. Could be a hold to get more money in your bank to maximize the trade. Because there's not really a lot of great wide receiver downgrade options. So if you don't love any of the guys what we've said at that sort of 4 to 7 range, I would suggest sort of maybe holding off as long as he's not on field. If he's on field, go down to someone who you think is going to make money.
Love it. And we have a traditional fantasy question here from the Smitty. 2 quarterback league. If you could get Breece Hall or Josh Jacobs for Rattler and Rashad White, who would you want? I'll take this one. Josh Jacobs. I think that's pretty easy. Great schedule rest of season, and he's the one actually getting touchdowns where Breece Hall, he's yet to find one of his own. So yeah, that if you could pull off a king's ransom like that for those 2 pieces, and get Josh Jacobs, but honestly, happy with either. That's a great
either's the answer. If you can't get Jacobs and you get Breece Hall, still take it as a very, very, very good win. Rattler might be out of a spot in a week or 2. You never know. So, and Rashad White is definitely out of the spot in a week or 2. So, if you can get that done now, run, Smitty.
Getting quick. Another one here from a mate Punter. Would you trade in Dart for Allen, Hurts, or McCarthy? So if you had to move either of these 3,
none.
There you go.
Oh, Hurts, but you're gonna feel Dart. So I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, and Hurts, he's got a week 9 bye as well. So yeah, you could probably
he's playing the Giants this week as well. It's really hard to miss out on Dart's money though. But it's not guaranteed to make money either. Like he's guaranteed to make money, but not necessarily that much. That's a really hard predicament, Punter. I wouldn't move McCarthy because it's a net neutral. Allen, I mean, geez, I can't say move Allen. I can't. With the bye next week though, like it's like that. If you're playing in that sort of game. But you're losing too many points starting Dart over Hurts or Allen this week. So I would just let him go. Sad to say that's you've put yourself in a spot there with not having the option, unfortunately.
Yeah, but again, you don't need to bring in Dart. You can just save a trade for this week. Another one here from Josh Zapp. Is Hurts still viable or is Mahomes or Dak an option? Would have to boost. Hurts break even is 58. So Hurts, he is a week 9 bye. If you, I think it's pretty sideways if you're moving from Hurts to Mahomes or Dak at this point. I'll just hang on and move Hurts after his bye at this stage. Do you see that any differently there, Secko?
No, look, I know where Josh is coming from because we are both Jalen Hurts owners. A lot of people aren't, so they don't know the hurt. They don't know the hurts that come with being an owner. He's just a horrible watch, but the problem is he still scores okay. and doesn't score poor enough to really need to cut him. So you sort of started with him. He scored 58, 38, 38 the last 3 weeks. That's pretty much what he's getting. He's getting your 40s. Plug him along. If you have to trade him out in week 8, a week before his bye, to either Lamar or Allen, that's probably my planning, to be honest. I wouldn't go Mahomes or Dak from him here, though, now. He's one of the guys. Well, he's actually one of the guys who can be also a keeper. Yeah, if you see things change, see a clear direction over the next 3 weeks in their game style or play calling, things can change there. If Saquon got injured, for example, he already had a scare. If he actually gets injured, I think the rushing work for Hurts goes up because they got Shipley and Bigsby and Dillon. So I think, just watch. Not worth the trade. Hold a trade. Watch.
Love it. And from Blue Bullers here, Dart, Taylor Warren, locks, and stop gatekeeping JT Secko. Yeah, you're right. Hey, put it on in Blue Bullers. If you can get in JT, he's going to be an absolute stud. But yeah, Secko made some great points earlier on. His cost is up there. You could kind of hold off onto the buy once that's passed in after week 11 and look to bring him in there if you don't have him already.
Yeah, no, Bluey and me, Blue Balls and me love a little bit of back and forth. It doesn't. We have very similar takes sometimes, and sometimes we don't, and it's great. It's great for everyone.
Keeps you honest. Love it. Luke Waskowski, thanks for throwing this one in here. Doing Bowers to Waller, love it. But tossing up between McCarthy to Dart or trading Nico to Debo or London. I think, based on what we said here, Secko, we're not moving McCarthy to Dart as of yet. It's just kind of a little bit sideways feeling. But trading Nico to Debo or London, that could be some good options if you do need to, if you don't have any starting wide receivers on your bench and you can use that trade, then definitely Nico to Collins. Which one would you have, Debo or London? Secko, there's a couple mil price difference. Oh, sorry, only 1.4, 1.3 difference between London and Debo. Debo -4 break even, and London has the 17, but he's past his buy.
Yeah, I'd go Drake. Because I can see him being a keeper. Debo's been great, but I don't see him being a long-term option. So if I've got tossing up between those, you're losing Nico, who's a keeper, to get someone. You're not doing it as a cash play. I wouldn't do it as a cash play personally, Luke. So if that's the case, I would trade him out for London. If things work right and you get London, you get a spare luxury trade later on, and you can go London back to Nico. Happy days if it works out that way. But otherwise, I think London's a pretty safe top 8 to 10 scorer. So stick with him.
Love it. And IJ, just for general, what is a good vice captain loop score to take? And this is the one that we'll also be covering on our captain's huddle tomorrow morning. But this one's been up for debate. Secko, I know there's been a few things going backwards and forwards. In my eyes, 45, you're probably pretty happy with that, even like low 40s. I guess it really depends on what other options you have as captains for the rest of the week. Are you around that low 40 kind of mark that you'd be willing to take?
Yeah. I think anything over 40 is realistic. We've sort of gone through this in the WhatsApp, in the Patreon, if you don't remember. Join up and get access to the WhatsApp to sort of discuss these things. But we've sort of gone around in circles a bit about do you take a 42? Because what if Josh Allen has a 55? And you're like, well, it's 13 points. What if Josh Allen gets injured on the first drive and scores you 2? Like, there's a lot more risk in going for the, yes, he might get a 72 as well. Like but I think if you're fortunate enough to pick a VC that gets a good score, gets a 40 plus, I think just lock it in. You're not giving up many points on the day for the risk of giving up a lot of points. So just my theory. Some people just absolutely despise that idea. But I just don't see, if you're here to score as many points, you're locking in a good score to ensure you don't lose a heap of points at the same time.
Love it. And Luke has followed up with his earlier comment. We'll probably hold McCarthy instead of trading to Dart. Love it. And can do Hunter, Travis Hunter to London, Debo or Waddle instead of trading Nico. Yeah, of course. If you've got enough cash there to make that's a great option there, Luke. Absolutely love it. Heads up play. IJ, thanks, lads. Ended up holding JJ and went likely to Waller. Awesome, mate. Love it. Josh Cook, a good trade to JT. You probably, you could. You probably could do that one. That's nice and easy, but we'll get on to the next one. Another paid comment here. Thanks heaps, Dees. Drake May, Jackson Dart, Jefferson, BTJ, Pearsall, Coker is on IR, Travis Hunter, all those RB, no defense or kicker, just holding to trade, but Ridley or Dobbs will go on in a few.
Oh, that's with his previous team. So yeah, he's
right.
pretty much this looks like a bit of it wouldn't be a dynasty though, but yeah, he needs Ridley. He needs Ridley to cover that. You know, he can drop Hunter. He's only got Jefferson, BTJ, Pearsall's out injured, Coker's on IR. Yeah. Now pick up Ridley for whoever you're dropping, and Hunter you can drop as well. I think Hunter's just droppable in all formats at the moment. He's just getting too much. He's not getting enough, and he may be something down the track, but you have to hold him. Good job.
Awesome. And yeah, and if you can't get Ridley, Romeo Dobbs is also a nice one. He's got Cincinnati this week. And our last question that we'll be getting to, guys, thanks heaps. The Smitty, would you drop Woody Marks? I'm going to take this as traditional fantasy. No, hold on to Woody Marks. He's going to be all right. It's just a down game. That'll be fine there. But guys, thanks heaps for tuning in tonight and for the questions. We absolutely love it. Again, if you haven't already, please hit that big like button. And also to mention, our overall winner in our Unlimited League will be getting a custom mini helmet from our mates over at NFL Helmets Down Under. All in all, they have new signed NFL memorabilia and full-sized helmets dropping every week. And the link to their website is in the description below. So make sure if you're chasing any NFL gear to impress your mates this year, make sure to check those guys out. They've got a whole heap of great stuff there. It's again, Captain's Huddle dropping in the morning, 6:30 sharp. Again, could be depending on what state you're in. I'm not even going to try and go there at the moment. And then also a week 6 preview and starts of the week will be tomorrow night as per usual. But guys, that's for myself and Secko, a whopping 9-minute stream here tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all tomorrow night.
Awesome. Thanks, lads.